Hello, guys. My name is Portia Suma, and welcome to Enlightening the Youth, a talk show that talks about anything to do with the youth and shine a light on the journey. Today, we're going to talk about addiction and recovery. You know, addiction can affect us all. It could be you, it could be a relative. And I'm joined by Brian Mulipah. The age is very important. When it comes to addiction and recovery, he is a true game changer. Welcome to the show, Brian.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So, Brian, tell us more about yourself. Who is Brian Mulipah?
So, Brian Mulipah is a guy who used to use addictive substances, got some help, and now is helping other people to overcome their addictions.
Okay, speaking about addiction, what is addiction? How do you define addiction?
Yeah, thank you. That's a great question. You know, there are many definitions of addictions now, and everybody and their grandmother is making up their own definitions. So my simple definition of addiction is any behavior that is compulsive, that is causing problems in your life, and then you keep on doing that behavior. That is an addiction.
Interesting. What inspired you to start your own Being Talk Nation and stuff?
Yeah, so the story goes back to 2002 when I stopped drinking and using other drugs. And yeah, so when I got some help, it was outside Dallas, it was in Bulawayo. When I came back, several of my friends had died. So I decided, you know what, somebody has to help someone here. Let me just try to help at least one guy. If I can help one friend, I would have served my purpose on earth, and then, you know, God can take me if he wants to. I hope he doesn't take me yet, please don't. Yeah, so I just started talking to people and trying to help just a few friends. I actually wanted to help one. There was a bunch of them. And then later on, someone told me about, you know, there's actually a training called addiction counseling training. So then I applied for it, got a scholarship, went to Holland, came back. So I decided just to actually then do it professionally. And I tried to register at rehab 2009, 2008 and 9 there.
It's a long time.
It was a long time ago,
Yeah.
failed. And then eventually we registered in 2020. Yeah, so now we are working as Tove Nation. Yeah, helping other people.
Okay, so what do you think is the main cause for someone to be an addict?
Well, you're asking these great questions. You know, I see a lot of people out there saying, oh, I'm an addict because my dad disappeared when I was young, you know. That's a nice excuse. It is valid, actually. However, the cause of addictions is never just one thing. It's always a variety of things. Because as humans, you have a variety of things happening in your life. With relationships with people, relationships with money, relationships with the community. So, but at the bottom, at the base, we see trauma. So trauma is one big factor when it comes to addiction. And it means when you're also doing treatment, trauma has to be addressed. But the trauma is also wide. There is emotional trauma, spiritual, relational trauma. Yeah, it's...
Spiritual trauma, what do you mean?
Yeah. So spiritual trauma, you're talking about you, the individual, being injured. Things like shame, it's emotion, but shame is an attack on the self. Yes. And then you can be injured spiritually. Like God hates you. So if you grow up thinking God hates you, there's got to be something wrong in your life. If you ever believe that God hates you, something is going to be wrong. And that's, you know, that's an injury. Yeah.
Okay, so can you list all the types of addiction, or maybe only the few that you can list types of addiction?
Yeah, well, not all of them, yeah, but a few.
Yeah.
Well, there's addiction to depressants. Okay, so the two main addictions. There's substance addiction. You're addicted to things that we can touch, like alcohol, tablets and stuff. And then there's process addictions or behavioral addictions. So these are addictions that you can't touch, like gambling addiction. Well, the person is gambling. It's a behavior. Eating disorders. Those are process addictions. Sex addiction. Pornography addiction. Like you don't touch anything, you just press a button and then you watch something. You can actually be addicted to porn. Yeah. So those are the two main ones. Substance addictions and process addictions. And then in the substances, there is a ton of things.
Yeah, and that one is the main one. But before we get into the main, I have heard that there is food addiction and also religion addiction. Can you shed more light on that?
Yes, so food addiction, it's when it's popularly known as like an eating disorder now. It's just language that is changing, but it's still the same thing. Some people eat to comfort themselves, okay? And then there's people who eat and then they put a finger in the thing and then they have to vomit because of body images. Some people, a person might be slim, but they think they are big. So when they eat, they want to throw out so that they remain,
When I actually heard about the term food addiction, I thought one see how nice calf chilimpot.
Oh. No, that's comfort. It's actually people who are eating to comfort themselves or starving to gain a certain feeling, starve themselves so that they can feel better about themselves. Yeah. And then you said religion. Yes, so religious addiction is when people use religion to change their mood. So it's people using religion in the same way that other people use alcohol. Meaning I go to church, I'm doing church activity to change how I feel, not to worship God. A lot of the guys are ushers. Don't tell them, but ushers. So be careful. Ushers and counselors at church, yes. Some of them are pastors actually. So a person becomes a pastor because they did something wrong when they were younger. They feel guilty about it as a basic emotion. And now to get rid of that guilt, let me go do some religious stuff. Maybe God can forgive me. Yeah. But then, so when you do that, it's an emotion that comes, you feel better, but you don't feel better forever. It wears off, and then you feel guilty again. So it's a cycle now. It's
so
like
you keep on coming back.
Yes. Now you have to go to church 7 days a week. Some people do that.
Well, I guess you're learning a lot. We'll take a short break. Please stay with us. 7 and 8, 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, 7 and 8, kick 1, 2, 3 and 4, and out. Welcome back, and we're still on addiction and recovery. So Brian, like right now, ukupisa on addiction is drugs, and we have heard kuti mumwatora mai vake and whatsoever. How does drugs affect us as youth? And can you name a few in their effects?
Yes, so papa drugs are pisa. Okay, there's the big one is mtoriro, crystal meth, karakuti dombo, kuka makafela. So that's a big one. And then there's also alcohol. Alcohol is bigger than crystal meth because it's widely used. Okay, so but then what happens? Kanamashtora drugs, how it affects the youth is let's say crystal meth. Wow, and then that stuff is metabolized on the liver. Okay, so liver, and then the body naturally detoxifies itself. So the body no clean. In some cases, there's a delay in cleaning because they are not taking care of the body. That stuff then moves from the liver to your brain. So when that goes to the brain, now there's confusion. What's not So things like that. It's because that's one angle. You have to move things have just moved from the liver to your brain. Another one, they could problems like schizophrenia, okay, bipolar, and some of those mental health issues. Some people don't know that they have those issues because they are but they just subtle. Because drugs, you're in on a bipolar, it's gonna get worse. Okay, so severe mood swings. One time you are severely depressed, you want to kill yourself. The next thing you're manic, you are panic. Yeah. So again, that's another issue. But maybe how to zero or not zero. Okay, and then kuneva is just misinformation. Like for example, detox. Kana body cleaner that stuff. Breathe Remember, it's brain chemicals are kupera. Saka mutoriro, for example, is a big one. Munakatora mutoriro, there's a flood of dopamine. Saka dopamine is like 10 times more than it was. Okay?
Okay, so mutoriro ndonito kuti munhu astika here, and kana wastika munhu anogona kufa akastika here kana ndinostika for how many days, because I've heard a story of a guy akastika for 2 days, then vanhu vatofunga kuti then the friends came wakati akastika.
Yes, mutoriro unetsa vanhu vastika for sure. Yeah, ma 24 hours nema 2 days wire are very, very common. Kuti munhu anongoramba akangomira or yeah, kukuramba akangorara asingaresponde. Yeah. A lot of times munhu anenge ane chikwereti chehope. Remember ukatora crystal meth unogona kuita 4 days namborara. Okay? Saka une chikwereti. Saka you just don't aungoregera ungorara kubva everything will be poor. No, une chikwereti chako. And then the body, at some point the body will say, Myers. The body will just say, I can't do this anymore. I need my sleep. I need to just shut down right now. Unogona kujifamba, body yovamba kuti Myers ndabo, I need to sleep. Saka uchifamba uvhora pakwamira ipapo.
10 minutes to breathe.
Yeah, time yakwana. When one guy married kwangu akachifamba ndivangoti ndaneta ngaimbozorora papole magetsi. Akabaramba akamira 24 hours. Like vanhu vachivanga kuti iwe enda kuba kwenyu. The good thing is andakamira, saka people knew that this guy is alive. But breathing yake was also very, very shallow. Which means, yes, there's also less oxygen. The body is not responding to any stimuli from outside. Only next day, Avazo muka kuma 3 in the afternoon. So these 24 hours of no food and no water. And before this happened, kana wanga usinakutora futi mvura yacho for a prolonged period of time, she could actually die. Because vanakawanda, I've noticed, vanakawanda would then die. When are using mutoriro, it's usually just dehydration. And dehydration just means you need water. Which, yeah, more water, yeah.
Okay, so I've talked to a few number of youth. Some of them, they were saying a lot of youth, they are broken, mental health issues, but do you think it's the main reason why one are into drugs?
Yes. Idle time, you can go to Hapana can show you to go bridge the boys to go to one, the my bad ideas, Papa. Don't go to boys. Usually, mbanje is also known as a gateway drug. When I want to take up my cigarettes and mbanje, yeah, and then as boys you just share, and the next thing you're gonna upgrade now to an tutorial.
And what I've realized,
yeah. Well, I also remember how I started mbanje. I had sworn I'll never touch that thing. A guy, my friend, his name is George. He's still alive. So George comes to me, Brian, unopita mbanje. It was a big, long conversation. Unopita mbanje, let him know. He goes, wakanyepera zikaputa mbanje na vawapenga. Saka ufuwa penga. No, I did not put mbanje. And then we went, and he gave me my very first one, and then we were smoking. It was day 1, and then the next thing we were smoking every weekend. We were boarding school, Form 2.
Sure.
Yeah. And then because of my holidays, I went back home. I met another guy who was older than me, 10 years, who was my friend. And then he gave me my next one. I got a different grade. That one, I liked it. That's the one that made me smoke, become a smoker when punch. Yeah.
So, what do you think we should do as a nation, or rather, what are you doing as Talk Nation? About these situations, drugs, and we've talked about a lot of youth, they say they don't have anything to do.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing as a nation, as a country, or maybe as a Talk Nation? Or what do you think we should do? Because we can talk about it, we can even do my campaigns, talk about my t-shirts, my events, but is it really working? What should we do?
Oh, you're asking these dangerously great questions. Yeah, my t-shirts, they are nice, but they don't really help. So there are two things. As a nation, there's a lot we can do. training more healthcare workers who are addiction counseling is very important. Like my nurse, my doctors, yes, they're gonna get training in counseling, but it's general counseling. Okay, and then when you're looking for help, when my doctor, the doctor is not trained in addiction counseling. Okay, so they are trained to investigate my diseases and treat my diseases in my body. Even my psychiatrists are not trained in addiction counseling. Saka, if you check, unfortunately, if you check my records in my psychiatrists, the success rate are terrible. They're the worst, rather. Not just in Zimbabwe, in the whole world, they're the worst. So I think we just need more information, more training. Tanzania did a great job. Tanzania, okay, do whatever you're doing, just come and tell us what you're doing.
With our drugs, you just come and
No, my rehab. If you want to do my rehabilitation, tell us what you're doing and then carry on. So the success rates were terribly low, but then this gave opportunity for people to get training. Because you've got a rehab, and you can see it's not working.
Yeah.
If you've got heart, you're going to get training. And then we're not training and it's not working, you're going to start looking at why is this not working. And then as 12 Nation, we're doing a bunch of things. One of the things we're doing is schools, my primary school. Starting the primary school, my prevention in primary school.
Primary school,
yeah, well, when I'm talking about grade 7 going up. But if you tell my grade 5, 6, 7, work up at good information. When they get to Form 2, majority, they know what to do. Okay, so that's the prevention. And then the treatment side, yes, we're doing a lot of community-based treatment now, like just going into communities. Some people can't afford rehab. $1,000. How many people can do that in Zim? Yeah, and then also on the prevention side. And soon, by the way, this is my plug, we're doing an event soon, so for April, by Harare City Library, where we're trying to get in even my professionals. There are a lot of people who have jobs, they are employed, but undergoing my addictions, for them to get help now, it's seriously, the shame is terrible. When you pass out zero, you might get fired. So we also want to train my HR. Guys, instead of firing, it's actually more expensive to fire a person than to help them get off my drugs.
Because I also think any addiction, like my parents, they also need to be taught.
Yes.
Because like I don't think an addict undergoes to be
yeah, a lot of parents, by that training, we've also noticed a boy and a girl basically in the same addiction. Do you know who's going to get help? It's actually a boy.
Oh.
Yeah, Muskara Anansi, there's that word, the H word. Muskara Anansi, family, whatnot. There's a lot more shame if a girl is addicted than a boy. Yeah, boy, I know is I'm an Very
bad.
But Muskana, it's a write-off for a lot of families. Yeah, so we are also going to be educating on that, like areas of shame. People I think our people underestimate the effects of shame. Because shame is big. It's the biggest main taproot, all addictions.
And for someone to be able to be helped, they have to be willing.
Not necessarily. There's an issue here, intervention also. So I wonder when they come, they don't want the help because they're enjoying it. Like for me, when I was using drugs, I didn't go use drugs. You didn't know what I get. No, I was enjoying magic. So a lot of people are using and they're enjoying the drugs. They're not even thinking about what they get.
So you can force them to stop.
It's not force. It's called an intervention. So what an intervention that maybe in a few seconds is, in our conversations, we try to get them to see how their values, everybody has values, things that are important to them, and then how their values are in conflict with their behavior. If that becomes obvious, they're going to stop drugs on that same day. But now, how do you get them to get to that place? It might take you from 10 minutes up to 4 years, depending on how good you are with conversations.
Well, we will take a short break. Please stay with us.
7, let's move. Go 1, 2, 3 and 4, and 5, 6, 7 and 8. Go 1 and 2, 3 and 4, and 5 and 6, and 7 and 8. Kick 1, 2, 3 and 4, and out. Aha!
Welcome back, and this is our last segment. So, Ryan, I've heard a lot of people talking about drugs. Some they say it's spiritual. People have to be prayed for. Do you think it's demonic, or this is the devil attacking us as you?
Yeah, so I think, yes, it is spiritual because we're spiritual beings. Is it the demons? No. Yeah. The ones watching the addiction, and alcohol addiction. No, not alcohol addiction. The demon of alcoholism. Yeah. Yeah, that's my demon. It's not the demons, it's the individual. Like, for example, one of my hallucinations or psychosis. It's not the demons, it's just my substances. Okay? Those substances are going to separate how your brain is working. I'm not changing the frame of your brain, how it's working. So now, how you feel and what you're thinking are going to be separated. That's chemical. It's not a demon, it's not spiritual. It's a chemical imbalance in the brain. Yeah. And then some of these drugs are not fat soluble, like alcohol is liquid, it's water soluble. And then I'm told I don't know like my bone marrow like heroin. So I'm not going to but my fat cells up. Okay? 6 months later, coffee, the next thing, we're going to relapse. Because now that residue, my bones, fat are being triggered, they're coming in. It's not the devil, it's just that we don't have, Manakwada don't have that information. You're going to be stuck in your fat. An example again is with alcohol. After 8 hours to 48 hours, okay, the alcohol is going to be leaving your body from 8 hours. But Mbanje now will stay in your body for 19 to 24 days. You also think about Buddha Manje after 3 weeks. So when I know Buddha your body might show my symptoms of Buddha. So that's not the devil, that's not the demon. It's chemicals leaving your body. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for clarifying this. So, any advice to the youth, anything about addiction, or just anything that you want to say?
Yep, just two things. Number one, be careful of what you eat out there. The ganja cake, people can just come and donate a big cake. I'm not saying any donated cake is going to be bad, but ganja cake, ganja coke, things like that. So just be careful on who is giving you stuff. Okay. And number two, there is help out there. Okay, you don't have to suffer with addiction alone. There's a lot of help now. If you need help, hey, there's a bunch of rehabs out there called Tove Nation. We are one of the best people out there. Not to blow our own trumpet, but we're pretty good at what you're doing. So, yeah. So youth, there's help out there. Get some help now. Okay.
Well, I'm sure you have learned a lot. I don't have anything to add. Just stay away from drugs. So for me and the team behind the scenes, it's a goodbye. Until next time, same place. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, like, follow. Thank you so much.